the way that you connect with people in high school is very different than the way that you connect with people in college.
Guys don't have they can't be your friends. It always becomes sexual, romantic immediately.
Yikes.
Immediately.
Can y'all's partner have a friend that's a woman?
Hell no.
Don't see it for what it was. I see what it's gotta be.
What's up? Welcome to the Wellish Podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to talking about all of the things that they don't teach you in the classroom, but should. My name is Lindsay. I'm going to introduce my co-host now.
Hi, my name is Kaya. I'm a senior at Agnes Scott College, and I'm here to ask the questions we're all thinking about but are too afraid to say out loud.
You did. Big Kaya in the house. What's up, man? It's your boy, Kari B. You already know I'm working in Red's Life, the social director here. And, hey, I'm here to bring that wisdom, to the hallway from the table. You already know what it is. So, happy to be here. You know what I'm saying? With my people. You did.
Yes.
So just to give a little bit more background, I'm from the Wellness Center. I'm a counselor in the Wellness Center. So I support students around all things related to mental health, wellness, self-care, the good and the bad that comes with experiencing things as an undergraduate student or a graduate student. So we're going to be talking about things that you are thinking about, worried about, but are not coming up in the classroom. That is what this podcast is all about. That's what we're dedicated to. So we're going to kick off today by talking about a few different things. But the first thing I wanted to talk about is, what are the things that they didn't tell you before you got to college?
Okay.
Like, what's the information that you needed but didn't have and had to learn it maybe the hard way or learn it through experiences once you made it to campus? So the first, I guess, and I wanted to kind of direct this to you, Kaya.
Right.
What are some of the things that maybe shocked you when you made it to campus?
I think one of the things that shocked me was how, directed everybody was. They were so willing to direct and guide freshmen. But then after my first year, it was like, you're on your own. Do it all by yourself. So that was interesting.
All right. Why do you say it was kind of on your own after your first year?
I know with the first years in particular, since they're new coming in, they normally have to do certain, they're kind of, I wouldn't say babied, but you have your RAs that you get and they help you navigate everything. The professors help you navigate. And then after that, you're just kind of in the swing of things with classes and knowing where to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that.
There's maybe more hand-holding when you first arrive, more support, and then it's like, okay, figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out and advocate. That's one of the things I've had to learn since I've got here.
Yeah.
Advocate for yourself a lot.
I think another big thing when getting to school is the way that you connect with people in high school is very different than the way that you connect with people in college. How 100%. You meet friends and how you put yourself out there in social settings is very different. Can you speak to that a little bit? What feels different for you, high school versus college?
This is so funny, and I tell people this all the time. So high school, I was very quiet. I was very shy. I wasn't really the social butterfly I am now. And when I got to college, the Agnes environment is so friendly. I felt very welcomed. Every last one of my classmates and peers were really nice, so it was easier for me to make friends. But also I just had to step out and kind of put myself out there in a way to have a social setting in college, because a social setting in high school really differs. It's more like cliques. And then versus when you get out into the real world, or to college at least, then you're now trying to not befriend everybody, but trying to befriend people here and there.
So, what's up? You feel like it's I ain't mean to cut you off, my bad. You feel like it's a lot of networking that comes with being at Agnes? I don't want to say networking as in business sense, but at least building that network of hanging around so many people and y'all are creatives, y'all are different things. You feel like that's at Agnes, or is it kind of a little different?
Yes, it is a lot of networking. I a part of a lot of clubs on campus at Agnes, and that allows me to connect with more people, see their background, know their major, why they came to Agnes. So it kind of it forces you and puts you in a position where you have to network and talk to people every day, and that's something I am grateful for.
Yeah, I think joining clubs and organizations helps a lot. That was one thing that helped me tremendously feel connected during my undergraduate experience, specifically pledging in Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Helped because, I mean, I gotta shout out.
Shout the plug out. All right, man, they do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Do
But
it.
it helped me because I was able to be around other like-minded people that like shared values and shared goals. And so that made me feel like really supported and connected. Going to a predominantly white institution as people of color, it can be isolating. And so it's important to find your tribe and find spaces that feel safe and supportive for you in all aspects of your identity.
Right. Two of the organizations that I'm in is Scotties of Color Healing Circle, and also our Black Student Union at Agnes Scott called Wakazi. That is definitely my tribe. I've definitely grew a lot during my time at Agnes there, from being a member to being event planning chair, all working my way up to vice president and being that beacon of light for Black students on campus.
You're speaking to something really important of creating spaces where there are other people that celebrate culture and celebrate those aspects of identity. Bakari, could you speak to that a little bit with your expertise in Res Life? What do you notice about students, and what could you say is helpful for students as far as like finding points of connection?
Yeah, I think that's something I noticed when I first got here 2 years ago, that Wakazi was really like the first people to really like kind of reach out to me, kind of grab me and pull me and even show me the culture at Agnes a little bit, because I was really just moving around, especially as a guy working at Agnes. My experience is a little different from everybody else's, so I kind of get like looked at different or even treated different in a sense. But Wakazi was the first host to tell me like this is kind of why the Agnes experience is like this, because you know, they've looked at people of color like this, or looked at specifically Black people in a certain way or a certain style. So I would say it's very important to establish that network. And I think even me just kind of coming in and being an advisor of Wakazi, and understanding like y'all's joining the Scholarly Healing Circle, you know what I'm saying, to see y'all move and to see how everybody just operates. I think it's beautiful, and I understood like it is a culture to the subculture a little bit at least. I think that the people of color having that culture for sure is really dope. So I think it's very important, especially within Res Life, because again, like how Kaya was kind of saying, like high school is kind of cliquish. I think the first years coming at that same mindset, like being clicked up or being like grouped up with people. And then you kind of see like in a sophomore experience or even, juniors, seniors kind of breaking out and, having a lot of different friends. So we see it in our process and like the housing process. A lot of people try to find roommates for next year. We are literally in the process right now. And a lot of that stuff is like tapping into their network, or who can I actually room with? Can I stay with my best friend? Like these kind of things that they're trying to figure out. And sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But I think that's the beautiful thing about college, is that you try to figure it out along the way. So yeah, I see a lot of it in Res Life for sure. Almost every day, for real.
I guess ultimately that's what college is about, just figuring it out as you go.
Yeah.
100%.
I want to move on to talking about safety. And when we say safety, that word can mean a lot of different things, right? But specifically in friendships, we're talking about finding points of connection and establishing your tribe. What does it mean to have safety in a friendship or in a space socially?
Yeah, so when I came to Agnes, one of the big things my mother always tells me is that everybody ain't your friend. And even if they are your friend, they might be your friend for that season. The biggest thing for me was being able to be my most authentic self. I feel like that comes with safety and stability in a friendship. A lot of the times, most people can't be like their most authentic self when they're befriending people, or even with romantic relationships as well.
Why is that? Why can't people be like their most authentic self in relationships or just even friendships?
I mean, they're likely to not be fully accepted.
Yeah.
Face judgment.
It's a fear. Is it like?
I think
Fear of judgment or fear of rejection or something?
I think it could be
both.
Okay.
It could be both.
Okay.
I also think it's from maybe like trauma, childhood trauma as well. Normally, like parents or guardian, or if you have siblings, those are normally like the first interactions you have socially.
True.
And that can affect a child's or like young adults' way of navigating of how to like befriend and make friends.
Why do you think people struggle with showing up authentically, maybe in friendships or relationships?
I think it's that fear of. I think it's two things. One thing I do think it's a fear of even not just rejection, but just of being themselves, because it's probably something that they've experienced in their lifetime where like they were probably being a full self at one point. Somebody probably joned on them or talked about them or, was coming down on them, you know what I'm saying, in a little bit. And I think it's also that other part, like people are still on the second side of that, people are still learning themselves, so they don't really know how to be their authentic self anywhere. And I think a lot of times we talk about this, like being your authentic self, especially in like work environments or even with your friend groups and stuff. It's kind of hard because some people don't know how to turn that switch off and just be them. But they'll like put on a mask a little bit or like, I don't know, put on their corporate side or whatever the case may be. And people struggle sometimes to try to be their authentic self because they always got to be something else. So I think it's that in the sense like people are still learning. People still trying to like understand themselves a little bit more. So it's a little rougher for them, a little tougher for them, should I say, to really be their authentic self.
Yeah.
So they got to meet somebody that, like you said, is secure and helps them feel safe and secure. And I think that's how like people become like best friends or like close friends and stuff because they always knew like I can be cool with Kaya and I can be myself, or I can be cool with Lindsay and I'm my hat off, my mask off, I'm cooling. You know what I'm saying? So I think people need that in a sense to where they can be their authentic self all the time. But I think it's tough for them just because they learning.
Yeah, I agree. I think to your mom's point of everybody's not your friend, maybe some people are just, your associate.
Yeah.
In college, though, it's hard to decipher.
Yeah.
You think,
Yeah.
oh, these are all my people. Like, these are my
sure.
friends.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
things happen, situations happen, and you learn, maybe they're not my friend. They didn't defend me. They weren't there for me. Can you talk a little bit about how it's been for you navigating through friendships?
Navigating through friendships, I've had to, again, from high school, I was very shy and quiet and then became a social butterfly in college. But I've had to kind of close in on who I call my friend and my associates, because the people you say hi to every day, not your friends. And my biggest thing is how I connected with my friends. One of my best friends who I roomed with for like 2 to 3 years, me and her are still friends to this day. We connected so well based off like I could be my authentic self around her. We could laugh, we can talk. We talk about the good, bad, and the ugly. And also as far as like something that I specifically looked for was that she was honest with me. When I wasn't making right decisions or I was going out partying, Kaya, we got class in the morning at 8 o'clock, 9:30. So that's something I really looked for in navigating and looking for like good friends.
So how do y'all decipher who's an associate and who's a friend? Like what are some of the things you'd be like, nah, this ain't it. Or like, nah, this person actually cool. Like I could really be friends with them. Just curious.
So I think to Kaya's point, what I've noticed amongst a lot of college students is people that they just speak to and people that we're not having in-depth conversations with. Like it's just more so surface level.
Yeah.
But when there are folks that are able to connect and you can be your real self and share the good, the bad, and the ugly, I think that is the foundation for deep, long-lasting friendships.
Sure.
In college. And they say a lot of times too, the friends that you meet in college, they do become lifelong friends. I've experienced that. I mean, I'm maybe 15 years or so out of college, but I'm not as connected with people from high school compared to the people I met in undergrad.
That's a fact. Yeah. I would say the same thing, for sure. I met a lot of good people in college that I'm still cool with now. And granted, I know a lot of people in high school too, but nothing like the folks I met in college. Like being in the trenches with them and classes and going out partying and hanging out. I met a lot of good people in college, for sure. So I feel that.
I think also it's a matter of like connections and conversations you're willing to have with that person, and also like initiating like, oh, let's go hang out today, and vice versa, and the energy is reciprocated.
Yeah.
And I feel like it takes two to tango. It takes two to have a relationship or a friendship, and be willing to like go that mile for you.
I dig it. That's dope.
This is making me kind of want to take the conversation in this direction specifically. You talk about like being in the trenches and how those are like long lasting friendships. What was it about college? Like what was so unique about that environment that was the breeding ground for these meaningful relationships? One thing I think is we're all figuring things out for the first time. No one's waking us up. No one's telling us, oh, you have to eat. You have to do your assignments. You're doing all of these things on your own for the first time. And that feels like such a unique experience that bonds people. What do you all see as it? Like, what is that factor about college that makes it unique for making friends and lifelong friends?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. I think it's that freedom aspect. Like, I'm not necessarily being controlled per se, but nobody's, like you said, waking me up, or nobody's telling me I got to do this like my parents are. So I kind of got that range to really do what I want to do. I can kind of get active how I want to go. Like, I can go to the club now, you know what I'm saying? Like, I go on spring break trips, you know what I mean? I can do what I want to do. And I think, like, having people that are kind of on that same mindset of level of, like, wanting to explore, I think that's something that's super, super dope. And I think that's really, especially in my college experience, that's all we did was really explore. We explored the city. We explored different states. Like, we explored ideas, creativity. Like, just explore that exploration, I think, just goes a long way. So I think once you meet, like, folks that's like that, it's trying to be on that same level, it just multiplies, and you just keep meeting dope people, and it just keep going. So I definitely feel that on that freedom aspect for sure. So I don't know if it's like the same for y'all, but you know.
Yeah, just to bounce off of what you were saying, Bakari, I feel like for me, my friends, like, we were there for each other and we watched each other go through stuff. So that's what makes it so unique. I remember times where I failed tests or even a class, and I was just like, I can't do this. I'm not smart enough. I don't feel like worthy enough to be here. And I've had my friends to push me and guide me and tell me I can do it. And especially as, like, it's a beautiful thing for as, like, Black women, for us to have that too, specifically. Absolutely. To have that anchor, to have someone tell you you can finish strong. And
Oh yeah. Yeah. While we're here talking about making friends, I want to focus on how it is so different for us now, right? Like, we're in our 30s. How is it for you, like, trying to make friends and establish new connections and new relationships compared to how it was back then, right? We were all big on exploring and finding all of these things that bound us. What about now?
Yeah. Kaya said she said don't put that 30 piece on her.
No.
She said I was just playing. But no, I think it's even harder now. I think, in my opinion, for us at 30. I think it's hard, but it's not at the same time. Like, and I don't know what your experience was when you were younger, but I know, like, I'm clubbed out. You know what I mean? Like, the things that I've done in my 20s, I'm probably not gonna be doing in my 30s for sure. Like, and that's just because, I don't know, get older, growing older, become a little wiser, you know what I mean? Or you looking for different vibes, different chill spots and stuff like that. So I think it's a little more difficult for me, at least, only because I feel like people our age are trying to differentiate the same thing just in a different level. Like, is this somebody I can network with? Is this somebody I can break bread with, make money with, etc.? Or is it somebody that's just going to be around? And I think, like, we had such a pivotal time from the teens to the 20s that we meet so many dope people. It's like, at least from my experience, I don't know about you, how it is for you, but I feel like the 30s get a little harder because people, like, get married or they get having kids, or, like, it's just like people don't got the time like they used to when we was younger. So I think it's a little harder for me now to, like, really, really make good friends because people always got, like, either ulterior motives or they just don't know what they want. So
yes.
Yeah.
I agree with you on the time thing. Everybody's so busy.
For sure. It's crazy.
And in order to build a friendship or a relationship, it requires time and it requires you prioritizing. And that's hard when you have a lot of other things that you're balancing. So I agree.
Yeah.
It's almost like the older you get, it's like the harder it gets.
Yeah, for sure.
Some of this stuff comes down to just personality type. Some of us are more introverted or more extroverted. Some of us go into more social settings and seek connection. But it does get harder with age. So I would say, on that note, make the most of your time in undergrad and connect with people as much and as deeply as you can.
Yeah. I feel like we had time in undergrad. I don't know, your experience, but we had hella time. We weren't doing nothing. You know what I mean? I mean, we was doing stuff.
Yeah.
Let me not put that like on college times. We in classes, we doing things, but the time that we have now, when you working and you doing all that, it's not the same when you in college because you got so much free time, so you're able to make them relationships. So I definitely feel that for sure.
For sure. We're on the topic of friendship. We're going to shift to talking about a specific dynamic within friendships, right? We're right now talking about things in this all women's environment at Agnes. What about within the context of a relationship? Are you allowed, is it okay for us as women to have male friends while in a relationship? Does it shift depending on what point in the relationship, we're at? Like, what are your thoughts about that? Let's kind of get into that a little bit.
So my thoughts are no. Women.
You said no?
No.
Oh.
She said no.
No.
Yikes. Hot take.
It does shift, I feel like, whether, your partner knows that guy, I feel like. If you both mutually know the guy, then it's different. But in all entirety, no.
So if your guy doesn't know your guy friend, then he can't be your friend.
Yeah.
Why?
And then also, why?
I want to know why, yeah.
Well, why? Because it's like, it'll also make my partner feel better that he knows him. Like, it's a mutual, like, him knowing him personally will probably, like, grow a friendship between them. And, it's mutually, exclusively among us. But as far as, like, okay, no, though, because also, I feel like guys don't have, like, they can't be your friends. Like, it always becomes sexual, romantic immediately.
Yikes.
Immediately. So that's why I say no.
Lindsay?
This is tough. This is tough. I think that you should be allowed to be friends with whoever you want to be friends with, regardless of their sex, right? I think that comes down to like the quality of the relationship and the dynamic of like trust within the relationship. I hear you. I hear what you're saying.
Yes.
But I think that can be like pretty stifling. Like, I don't know, that can maybe be a bit controlling. In order for me to have him as a friend, you as my partner have to know him. That feels a little controlling for me.
Say more about the controlling, because I want to hear that.
The reason why it feels a bit controlling is because if I'm your partner and you're trusting my judgment, I'm choosing this person as a friend. I vetted them. Why do I need your permission to like engage in a friendship? Why do I have to feel like I'm allowed to have this friendship?
Okay. I feel that.
That part feels controlling. I don't know. For me.
Let me flip it.
Yeah, please.
Let's
Let me flip
get
it.
your perspective.
So before I give mine, I want to ask, can your partner or y'all's partner have a friend that's a woman?
Hell no.
Yo.
Yeah.
Why not?
No.
Even if you know them?
Because
You know what
women
I mean?
are the same way. Women are the exact same way. We're very sneaky.
Ouch.
We try to, sometimes us being friendly can come off as flirty. So
Okay.
no.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Dang.
Yeah.
Have
Wow.
you had to deal with that before?
No.
Oh, that's just off the top. Okay.
I feel like for me, it comes from a place of respect. Like, out of respect for my man, I'm not going to go out of my way and try to befriend guys, especially guys who, I just feel like men are very, like, they're visual human beings. They like what they see. And that's how I see it. So out of respect
That's
for
right.
him,
I'm not going to take the disrespect
unless he
on the
knows
fellas.
them, no male friends.
Have you had to deal with that before, Bakari?
I have actually.
Can you tell me about it, please?
Yeah, I've had women in the past in my life to where they was like how Kaya thought, didn't want me to have like women friends. But I'm always around women because I gravitate towards women more because I just came up with women like my mom's grandma. I've always had women around my life, so that has been tough for me. It's just like my close best friends are women. You know what I mean? Like majority of the people in my life that I grew up with in college, I came up with in the hood in high school, like women. So I've always ran into that issue to where women are always mad at me for having women friends. And I'm like, what you want me to do? Like, I came up with these folks. We didn't basically like grew up together, literally. Like, I met their mama, they know my people. It's kind of hard to kind of like do that. So that's why I asked what happens if that person comes, because if they already got people in their life, it's almost like them ditching them. It's like, yeah, I can't be friends with you because my girl said, you know what I mean? It's like, man, that's kind of crazy, you know what I'm saying, to kind of ditch these friendships when y'all been locked in and so tight. So
Right.
I feel it. I get it to an extent that some guys, I'm not gonna say all, but some guys are like that to where they can't be friends, and even some women as well. But I don't know, that's kind of tough to tell them that you can't be friends with them, because it's like, you're gonna meet good people, you know what I mean, throughout your life. So
can I ask, did that feel at all controlling?
You know, maybe it's the toxicity in me. I don't know. I ain't think it was controlling. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, you're a little jealous. But now that you say it like that.
That's definitely the toxicity in you.
You know what I'm saying? Now that you said from a mental health clinician aspect, I get it now. That probably is a little bit controlling for sure.
Maybe. I don't know. Just
Probably
a thought.
is. You the expert. I feel you.
Yeah.
I think it might be. You trying to say Kai controlling? That's what you saying?
No, that's not what I'm
Is that
saying.
what you saying? Is that what we...
I also feel like these are important conversations to have,
No, for
because
sure.
like, what other spaces can we have honest conversations about things like this? And these things do come up in relationships.
They do.
For sure.
They do potentially like cause problems or conflict in friendships or in relationships.
That's real.
So hard to talk about, but important discussions.
Yeah, for sure.
So, answer the question.
Yeah, you dug
Well,
in the dodging, my boy.
I thought I did answer the question.
Nah.
I think that it's okay. I don't think that you should be bound to having only friendships that your partner feels comfortable with. I have dealt with the situation where I've had male friends. So similarly to you, I grew up around boys. Like, I'm an only child, but like all my cousins are boys, and so I naturally gravitate a lot towards males.
Yeah.
It feels comfortable for me. It feels natural for me. And partners in the past have felt a little bit insecure about that.
For sure.
But I know who I am, and I know that I'm not interested in these people. But that has come up for me before, and it's been challenging. Okay. So I've had to kind of navigate through deciding, do you hold on to these friendships? Do you hold on to the relationship? The relationships are gone. Those relationships are gone. Those male friends are still in my life now.
Word. That's what's up. Have y'all ever cut anybody off for somebody else? Like a friend that cut off for a boyfriend or partner before?
No.
Okay.
I have.
Yeah,
I have.
Hurt, don't it?
Yeah, but I almost felt like I had to.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that.
We want to thank y'all so much for tuning in to our episode today of Wellish, the Wellish podcast.
You did.
My name is Lindsay. You can find me at Life Matters Empowerment.
My name is Kaya. You can find me on Instagram at KYKYA03.
You did. And your boy Bakari B, you already know what it is. You can find me on social media, Juice Boy B, boy with an I. Let's get it.
See y'all in the next one. Peace.
Gone.
Don't see it for what it was.